All of us in the driver's seat have these crazy harebrained ideas that wake us up at 2 in the morning and we're like, squirrel, okay, this is gonna solve the world's problems. It's gonna make us millions. I feel like Pinky in the Brain sometimes.
I did think about quitting because it was so hard, and it was hard to go through what we were going through, because that's literally what it felt like at that time.
So the idea being is that we are control freaks. Dan?
Never.
We're control freaks, aren't we? We're the business owners. What's it like to have your team run your firm and not you? Somebody just had a heart attack. They're not in here yet. Somebody just had a heart attack. What's it like to have your team run your firm? What emotions are you going to go through? You're building systems. That's what we want to unpack. You've got spouses inside here. You've got colleagues inside here. Raquel has been by my side for years. You get to hear both sides of this, and we're going to be extremely vulnerable and authentic. Extremely vulnerable and authentic, because you need to understand what this journey is going to be like as you step out of that control seat. It is freaking hard. That's what we're going to do here. It'll get your brain off the computers to where you're not looking at computers. And I need your brains to stop for a second, because we're going to dive deeper into the strategic plan, deeper into it. It's going to get tough. So I need your brains to free up a little bit, and we're going to have some fun here. Have at us. But it'll be fun. April's got some questions, but this will be hopefully a revelation for some of you from 2 different viewpoints. So Emily, my wife, and Raquel are best friends. I've known Raquel for Earl for 25 years now, Earl and Raquel for 25 years. Our babies were born about the same time. We have pictures back whenever they were little, running around in diapers, being chased by our big Mastiff. And so we've known each other for years. I had this vision. I just read Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Crushing It, back in the, whatever it was, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So right before that, I'm like, why can't I build that? Why can't I build a marketing machine? I have the mind to build a marketing machine. Why can't I build a marketing machine that drives clients to us systematically over a period of time? Cool. So I did like most everybody in this room did. I was like, I will write myself a blog. So I named this blog, Planning is Fun. I began writing, and remember, I can't spell worth a flip. I failed English. I began writing and all this other stuff. And Emily's like, you're going crazy. Because we like to do all the work ourselves, and because we want to understand it. Am I talking the truth? So Emily's like, you're going to go crazy here. You need to hire somebody. I'm like, well, who would I hire? He goes, why not hire Raquel? She was a journalist. She produced these big companies, big production shows. Why not hire her? I was like, all right, well, she's gonna hate me after like a week of working with me. No, she won't. She'll be fine. So I was looking for somebody who I trusted, because I was gonna be intimate in our language in a way that somebody who knew our secrets, our family secrets. Somebody like every family photo. Imagine this: every family photo, every video she sees. There are no secrets. That was a hard position to be in. So I wanted somebody I could trust. I really trusted Earl. Not sure about her. I'm joking.
And I came for Emily.
So that's what it was. I was looking for somebody I trusted.
When I started, it was, hey, we're going to write a blog. Then it was, hey, we're going to produce a podcast. Hey, we're going to do a YouTube video. Hey, we're going to do a book. And I'm like, it's just me. I can't do all those things. Like, I'm one human. Like, he's like, I'm just going to put it all out there and you're going to put it all together. So I basically thought Justin was crazy. But I knew he had a vision, and I knew that he could accomplish it. I knew we would need more than just me, and he finally saw that. Because I kept saying, I need some help. I need some help. And so he finally ended up hiring other people, and our team kind of grew from me to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So I usually think he's crazy when he drops ideas. Not as much now, because I've just gotten so comfortable in what he drops into Slack, his voice memos. Emily sometimes tells him he can't contact me, and he does it anyway. He'll leave me a voice memo on Slack, and then I'll start working on it. And that was kind of actually how you got the assessment that you got. He had this idea, and I think, where'd y'all go in September? Dominican?
Yeah.
Somewhere. And He's like, I've been told I can't contact you, but I have to get this out of my head. And so he said it, and I
said that, right?
Yeah.
Never said that.
and I started it immediately because I have that mindset too. Like when I start thinking on something, ruminating on it, I have to start it and kind of see where it's going to go. And so usually I think he's crazy, but not as much now, but especially at the beginning, I did.
So I come up with about 75,000 ideas a day. Anybody else do that? Yeah. What I figured is she can process 2 of them a minute. No, so I literally will take and record a dictation, a video, something. I'll have a conversation like Dalton and I said, I had this idea, and I could see his brain processing. I'm like, don't do anything yet with it. I'm just thinking out loud because I'm a oral processor, process out loud. Probably some of you guys do that. And what I'll do is I'll dictate it into our messaging system, and I'll say, don't do anything. I got to get this out there. I'll come back around if it makes sense. And I drop it in the folder to somebody. Typically it's Raquel or April, depending on which function it is. And they won't do anything with it. If I say, don't do anything, don't do anything. And then they'll let it rest, but I have it out of my head. And then if 2 weeks later, Robert, is still in my head, okay, now it's time to have a conversation. It's kind of like the Amazon shopping cart for us as business owners. I got to like put the ammo in the shopping cart or the new scope in the shopping cart for like a week before I hit purchase. And if a week later, Brian, if I want to still buy it, okay, yeah, push purchase. So that's like, they're like my Amazon shopping cart for me, just to kind of drop it out there, let it sit.
Well, there's a couple things. First, I think about it and I take it to an LLM and I start talking.
What's an LLM?
Large language model. So ChatGPT or Claude, I take it, Gemini, and I start talking through. I usually take his transcript and I drop it in there and I'm like, okay, here's what Justin wants. Let's start thinking this through. How can we make this happen? What do we need to, do in order for this to happen? What softwares do we need? How much is it going to cost? What problems are we going to hit? How's it going to serve our clients? How's it going to move the business forward? How can we scale this? Because with Justin, everything has to be at scale. And speaking of how I process 2 at a time, I came up and problem solved for that and created an agent that creates agents for Justin because I can't keep up with his ideas. And so I took AI and made it make more AI. And so he has a Slack channel that he literally discusses back and forth with. Agent then goes and creates his ideas. And then me or Dalton can go in and look and make sure it was done right and connect it to whatever softwares it needs to be. Because like I said, you have to be able to scale. And so you got to think, how can I scale what Justin is throwing at me? Not even sure you even know what I did.
I have no idea.
So, and sometimes I get so excited. I'm like, you got to hear about what I did. He's like, I don't care. He literally says that. So one of the problems, well, you care to an extent. But he trusts me enough to just say, I don't care. It's fine. One of the problems I saw, we were all struggling with the podcast and keeping up with guests. Hillary was like, I need more guests. So we thought, okay, well, let's start the Slack channel. We all have different feeds. We're going to see people that maybe would make great guests for our avatars. And I said, well, let's drop names in there. That was how it started. Emily was starting with us too, and her job was going to be to kind of talk with these people. So then I would have to send a DM, April would have to send an email, and it was still chaotic because there was no process to it. It was just everybody still touching everything, and we really needed a system that would centralize it. So I started thinking, well, how can we automate this? Like there has to be a way, and there has to be an easier way than what we're doing. So I started putting together an automation with Slack that when the name got dropped in there, it would a bot would come in, take that name, go out and research that person and determine whether they were a good fit for our podcast or not. If they were a fit, so it has a scoring system and it determines based on our avatar and all the things, whether they're a good fit. If it says yes, then it automatically writes the DM and it automatically writes the email. It gets sent to Emily's inbox as a draft, and all she has to do is go QC it and make sure that whatever we're sending out with our name on it is actually good. And She just hits send. Well, if that person then is interested and they actually book with us, she goes back and she writes booked in the thing. Or I actually later on realized that was kind of a bottleneck and changed that system to where it reads the Google sheet that Hillary creates with the guest. If the guest actually books, it picks up their name, it goes, finds their Slack thread, and it tells us that they're booked. It then automates and creates an entire deep research and produces the podcast for us, then Emily goes through it and then hands it off to Justin.
So what I want you to think about, everybody in the room, is, first of all, I had nothing to do with that. It saved dozens of hours per week in our company. It was the team's permission to find the problem, find a way, find a solution. But in order for the team cohesively to find a problem, find a way, they had to have a framework from which to operate. They had to have repetitive, you heard her say, Justin likes systems. Justin gives us control. You have to empower your team. Empowering your team means not perfection. It means trusting them to find the problems and fixing the problems. Here's where it gets even more fun. The assessment that you took is version 3, 4, 5, 16.
I'm not sure.
So let's back up to that. Here's the reality. All of us in the driver's seat have these crazy harebrained ideas that wake us up at 2 a.m. and we're like, squirrel, okay, this is going to solve the world's problems. It's going to make us millions. I feel like Pinky in the Brain sometimes, Connor. It's like, hey, what are we going to do today? We're going to take it for the world. Here we go. So we're creating this assessment. And Brianna, I give her this thing literally on the beach in the Dominican Republic. I download my brain. I come back. I didn't hear from her for like 8 weeks, 6 weeks, a month. I didn't think anything about it. She comes back. She gives me an assessment. I'm looking at this. I'm pretty... How do I communicate? I'm pretty straightforward.
He's a high D.
There's no fluff. Somebody call it blunt. So I'm like, this is garbage. We can't use this. And I'm like, and I didn't realize she had spent 17 hours doing this. So Heather, I have to work on that. Emily tries to calm me down. I'm like, we can't use this. No, this isn't what I was thinking. This is in my head. So literally then I go into like overload. I pull like a Frank and go in overload mode and go, and so I dictate this thing out. And she's like, okay, no problem. I got it. Version number 2 comes out. I'm like, oh, this is looking good. It's still not there yet, Scott. Okay, this is like 8 weeks. We get it close, and then she builds this whole functionality out that worked brilliantly. And I'm like, I don't like that functionality. Let's go this direction. Okay. No, but I don't like that. Let's go back. Okay, this is what it's like in the owner's mind. And the whole time it's like, yeah, let's figure out a way. Let's go another way. And what we know is we get it to where y'all played with it now. And I've tested it now, not only with y'all, but I've tested it with a lot of people. And it's pretty doggone good. So much so, we're going to white label it. So much so, it's going to save you guys hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds or thousands of dollars per month. It's that good. You've seen it now. You played with it. But that came from an idea that I just basically said, here we go. And having a team who was built on trust and built on finding a way to solve the problem. In order for that to come about, I want to go back in time of where we actually had to let go. Because I've watched, and we've all been here, all the owners in this room, all the advisors in this room, you know what I'm fixing to say is the truth? We want to hold it like this, whatever it is. And I can push on you, and I've got excuses from every one of you this trip so far. Because it's our baby, we want to hold it. Until you let everything go in the company, you're not going to scale. That is hard. It's hard. So if we back up, I would be interested to know, my question for you is, whenever that was happening, this trust, I know we're friends. We've been friends for decades. But as I'm trusting my friend with my life on public profile, with our internal family secrets, financials, what was it like during that time period as you were forced, she was forcing me, by the way, and Emily was forcing me, let go. What was it like? What did you perceive from the owner standpoint?
Well, he wasn't completely clear in his first brain dump. I will say that. It was just like, I have this idea. And like I said, I like to run with things. When he gets an idea, I just need to kind of see what exactly is it he's after. And so when he said it was garbage, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to throw something at him because I'd worked so hard on it. But I understood where he was coming from because I have been with him for so long. But I was frustrated that I had worked so hard and he was calling it garbage. But he needed to see it working to be able to really start to put his spin on it. And that's what I find with him a lot is he really cannot he has to give you that little bit of an idea. And he says this a lot when he'll give me an idea. He's like, I don't really know how it's going to work. I don't know how we do this. And it's funny because a lot of times he's like, is it possible? Which I know he knows it's possible. But used to, I would be like, I don't know if I could do that. But he pushed me to a point that I laugh when he says, is it possible? I'm like, of course it's possible. Like, I can do that. I just got to figure it out. Give me time. So
Heather, she literally wrote up a resignation letter.
I did. It was about a year ago, a little over a year ago. My family's going through a really rough time. And I love working with Justin, but my friendship with him and Emily mattered more than the job. And I was being pushed to a point that I didn't know if I could do it anymore. And the good thing about me is I'm not a quitter in life. And so I said, no, I'm not going to quit. I did write it. I kept it on my thing. I think I even put it in my Slack and considered sending it, but I never sent it because I was like, no, I'm not doing this. But I did think about quitting because it was so hard, and it was hard to go through what we were going through and then have Justin telling me everything I was doing was wrong, because that's literally what it felt like at that time. No matter what I did, like I even sounded off to April. I was like, I can't do anything right for him right now. Like, and it was like my whole life outside of work was already falling apart. So it felt like my life was falling apart inside of work too, because I couldn't please my friend. I couldn't please my boss. I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing in my job anymore. And so, but he didn't fire me, even though I was doing it all wrong at the time. He was very empathetic in that time. And he was patient with me and kept pushing. And I finally got through it. And I think we're in a good place now. I think my job's safe.
So behind the scenes, what we as the owners often forsake or forget is the same pressure we have trying to release is the same pressure they're feeling trying to capture. The same heart that we have to see them succeed is the same heart that your team has to see you succeed. And we forget that. We forget that. But that doesn't mean that we are to let the mission or the company's values suffer because, and this sounds harsh, but it doesn't mean that we're to let the mission or the company suffer because of personal things that they were dealing with that were very hard, very difficult. It was holding a line, but in all of that, she used the word empathetic. What I could see was what she's done this last 2 weeks. I could see something in Raquel. And by the way, this is all the team members. I know every person here who employs somebody, or whether it's a spouse, you can see the best partner and you can see the best person, the version in your spouse. I could see something that she had not yet seen. And I was nudging and gently pushing, and she felt like I was whipping her. And it wasn't that, but there came a breakthrough, Denise, and it was magical. I wish I had a camera in that room that day, because Garrett, whenever she walked in at a team meeting, a countenance had changed. Shoulders back. I was like, oh, my friend's here. Wonder what she's going to be doing. And she didn't say much. And then she finally opened her mouth up. And Britt, when she's been showing us what she built, we all just sat there and went, holy Batman.
Yeah.
And all they was give me a hug, high five. I'm like, that's what we've been seeing.
I think it really broke something for the whole team too, to see what I did. Like, because everybody was like, what? Like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just worked 90 hours for 3 weeks straight because I was so committed to solving this problem. And it just broke something loose. And since then, I think I just run with things a lot more. It gave me confidence in my job more than I think I've ever had, really.
So don't forget the fact that the stress that you feel as the owner is the same stress that your team feels, the same stress your spouse feels, the same stress your subcontractors feel. It's different. They want to do what's best for you, Jim, but your job is to hold the line of quality. Your job is to hold your vision. The owner can only have one vision, and it's only your vision. Your team, you cannot abdicate your vision to your team. You cannot do it. I cannot give the vision of my company to Emily, and I love her with all my heart. Y'all know that. It's not her vision. It's the vision God gave me for this company that I'm the CEO on. That sounds brutal, but whenever you hold that line and you're committed to it, your clients see it, your team sees it, the ethos sees it, and ultimately God's going to give the increase where you sow the seeds. It's going to happen. And it may mean to a point to where you have a friendship on the team or a spouse, or you're like, sorry, we can't work together anymore. That may end up being like, it may be the point where you get some friction to where you break through and it's like, holy crap, look what just happened. This is pretty cool. And now I was just sending her like 5 times as much.
He does. That's why
But
I
and then
created
she
it.
kind of
It's a
fix
creative
it. But it really releases. So remember, the pressure goes both ways. Okay. And that's one of the biggest things I want y'all to take away from this. Building a company is freaking hard. It is hard. That's why we do it. We're crazy, right? And if you're married to the person that's trying to build a company, God bless you. So we started with, you were writing the blogs, if I remember right. So I started by writing the blogs, and I had to edit them because of compliance. She didn't understand compliance. She wanted to use, back in the day, I don't know if y'all knew this, you couldn't use pictures of money back in the day on compliance. Now you can, but back then you couldn't use pictures of money. You couldn't put nest eggs, gold eggs inside a basket. You couldn't do that. Okay, and she's like, well, this makes no sense. And she came from like the 700 Club, Pat Robertson.
I have a TV background, and so you're taught broadcasting, because that's what my degree was in. Your words match the image. And I'm going, I can't use money. How am I supposed to make this work?
So two things happen magical in this whole releasing things. And each of you will have this happen if you've not already had it happen. Okay. The first one was, I was writing this, I wrote out personally and had Raquel edit 17 tax tips for 2017. And I shared it on LinkedIn article. And this guy wrote back to me and he said, that's a very well written article, son. Exact words. I wrote back, thank you, sir. Cool. Didn't think anything about it. A month later, I wrote another article and then you helped me edit it out and I posted it on LinkedIn so we couldn't give sharing ability for log in. And I put an article out there and the same guy reached out and he's like, this is a well-written article, son. And I said, thank you, sir. He goes, would you like to write for Forbes? And I'm like, I guess. This guy that I'd never heard of named Jack Welch was sitting here communicating with me in LinkedIn. I had no idea who Jack Welch was. I actually took a picture of, this is the guy who like runs GE. This is the CEO of GE and he'd actually be the chairman of the board for Forbes, but he had read an article and he had seen that it was just an old country boy who knew how to kind of put some syntax together, but it somehow was hitting his syntax. He invited me to write for Forbes, which ended up leading us to Kiplinger. And so we started writing for Forbes and Kiplinger and USA Today and the Wall Street Journal. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. She knows how to write. I know how to put the concepts. We're a good team. So I began giving ideas and she'd write it, we'd edit it, and we'd push it out. Fast forward about a year. I got the social media thing and Heather, she's in my family. Photos. I mean, like photos. Okay, let's leave it at that. She's seeing stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So she writes out a happy anniversary to Emily and posts it on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and all these other places and Instagram. My mom calls me and Zach, she's like, my mom, he's like me. She's like, that is the sweetest thing you've ever written to your wife. I'm impressed that you would share that out there. And I went, I know, isn't that so cool? Man, I learned how to write really well. So I pull up outside the road. I pull up, I'm like, what did I write? Like, oh my goodness. She wrote like the happy anniversary thing. So Darren, she had the voice so well, my mother thought it was me writing. Tell me that doesn't build some confidence. So whenever that came about, it was like, okay, how can I get you this? So then we built systems where I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to let go. Well, then the error happens. It always happens because we're human. And it's like, let me get back here and fix it all. And she's like, get away, you let me have it. So then she's like my mom would smack my hand trying to reach into the cookie jar. She's like smacking my hand. I'm like, would you quit? I pay you. I know, get out of my world. So it became these like two big wins that were monumental. And then it became her holding her ground. Hold your ground. Okay, hold your ground against Pop. It just happens naturally. So she began holding her ground against me, and there was such a mutual respect there that it sucked. It was like, you're taking away my authority. You're taking away my identity. I think we can do this better. She's like, shut up. I don't care what you think. Go do something else. And so it became a point. So today, literally what you guys have witnessed, I knew there was an agenda. We worked on a little bit. I didn't put all this together. The team did. I didn't build the bots. I tried to break them. I broke some, but I didn't break most of them. Y'all haven't seen version 2. It will blow your mind. But we got to get it. We got to get some things. I got to break them first. That's the team. And so now it's like, how can I not show up to work? How can I like give you an idea and let y'all run with it? And whenever somebody has a question, they just answer it. How do I go fishing and win clients and make money and help people on the boat fishing? That's literally now where my mind's at. That took years. I've been in business over 32 years, but that only developed in the last probably 5 years, friends. But it came from the team holding their ground. So if you're not the owner and they give you authority, take it and much more. Pull the rope like a tug of war and don't give it back. Don't let him have it back, Brett. No, in my world, get away. Hold it tight because we have a tendency to want to get involved with it again. Okay, Lexi? Smack him. No, you're not giving my world here. Take the line and more and pull it away from them. They're going to fuss. They're going to get angry. Ted, as you let go, Tim, as you let go, your team, you're gonna get very frustrated because it's hard getting out of control. But you built them, and God gave the team members for you to disciple, to steward. So you've got to trust them. Let them have it, and let them hold the line.
That is true. 5 years. I've been with him 10. And only in the last 5 years has he backed off a lot. Now, that's not to say he does it perfectly sometimes, because he still gets in the weeds. And I'm like, get out, quit. I've got it. Leave me alone. Let me do it. It'll be okay. And he does reluctantly, but he does.
What email specifically do you see? Okay, so the newsletter. I'm going to be completely honest and authentic. Hillary has been running that for the last year and a half. Year and a half. She's been running that until we just did an avatar adjustment, and the voice has got to slightly modify. And so I literally wrote out 9 emails, my style. Hillary and I are working on it. She has 9 emails that I wrote out. She'll send those out, but now she is going to take that style and run with it and then work with me for a period as we're changing the stylistic around. But I took it over for a slide to get my flavor in that, my flavor ice cream. I like Baskin Robbins. I like mint chocolate chip. I mean, that's what I like. Gotta have that as I'm using my Android phone, not an iPhone. So I'm using this. So I'm trying to get this back into my flavor of ice cream, and then she's gonna take it and go. So write this for the last year and a half, the things that y'all saw that said it come to me, it wasn't me. It was a whole team put all that together. And now just for a little reflavor, retool, and then I'm done again. And that's how we have to think about it. You're still the owner of the company. You're still the visionary. You're still the CEO. You still have to know how the dessert is made, but it doesn't mean you bake the cake. But whenever you need to step in and make a slight adjustment, step in and then get out of it. What we have a tendency to do, what most of us have a tendency to do, get back in and possess it. And we don't give it back over. Or we don't instruct or train them how to take it and go forward, right? So to your point, yeah, so you caught us at a very interesting time, but we took it back, flipped it, and now she's got it again. So all social media, I don't do it. All emails, I don't do it. The only thing I physically do is record the podcast. That's it. Everything else is done by the team. I don't touch it. The funnels, the fit systems, the features, the bot shop, the agents, they build it, and they come to me and say, break it, and I try to break it. I don't touch it. That is a scalable model. That is a business to where you have a team that understands systems and processes where you don't have to physically do everything. You shouldn't have to go get the eggs out of the refrigerator and make a cake. You got people that want to do it and they're better at it than what we are. So what's hard is that we don't quite have the trust. Let's be honest. Let's be a little raw here, okay? We don't quite have the trust in the team, and so we don't let go, or we've built structures that support the bad habits of them running to us, like we talked about earlier, Tim. They run to us because we built systems that create a bad habit. And so now we're see the monsters that we created, and now we got to re-break it. What I would challenge you with is, I'm telling you, I know your companies. I've looked at all of them. There's not a firm in here that can't have the owner finding clients, solving the problems within 90 days, if you decide to do it. If you decide to do it. There's not a firm in here. If I were in the CEO position with your current teams, I could retool it and have this business where it's autonomous, where all you have to do is find clients and solve the problems within 90 days. But you have to decide how bad you want it. How bad do you want that freedom? How bad do you want to double that enterprise value? Because if you want it bad enough, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to get to your daughters to the hospital 45 minutes away in 30 minutes time. You're going to do it. I wanted it bad enough. I'm like, let me hire some talented people. Let me coach them, pour my energy into them, and then get out of their way. And that's where a few of you have got to decide, I want that bad.
I get onto him for his Instagram sometimes because he gets in there and messes things up. I can't get him to post a story right. So I'm definitely not letting him touch an automation. I was supposed to be a part-time employee. 20 hours a week. He said, you can do it 20 hours a week. I'm like, okay. I was editing the YouTube videos, coming to his office once a month and shooting the YouTube videos and making the lady at the bank very angry because I would borrow her tree because his wall was ugly. And she would get like, when I would take the tree, I was writing the blogs. He had given me a book that he wanted me to edit. And I just kept going, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. And finally, he heard me and he got help. And we were able to manage, but his vision kept growing. I would say it just kept getting bigger and bigger. It wasn't just one book. It was, I want to write 2 books. I want 3 books. I want a New York Times bestseller. I want this. I want to do that, So you have to grow, I think, at the size of your vision.
Well said. In all the growth, the owner has to still pay bills. And I have this belief, maybe y'all don't share this, but I have this belief. If I take on an employee, it is my responsibility to make sure they're fed. And I will feed that family member before my family gets paid. I've had that forever. That's my personal belief. Whether that be my wife, my friend, or my other friends. So oftentimes we know that we have this aspiration to hire that person in, but we know the dollars aren't there yet. So what do? We lean in even harder to try to get the dollars faster so that we can solidify, so we can place the next person. Darren, that's where you and I were talking about. That's where you're at right now. You're trying to lean in to lean back out. So sometimes it's like we get weary in this journey. So when I was scaling the RIA, the biggest move that I made in the RIA was twofold. The first one was there was a gentleman that worked with me right before April joined that took over all the content, that was very analytical, high C, almost like a compliance officer mindset, but he worked to help Raquel and he did all the way. He ran that. So I had the marketing side, they could trust it. Then I hired a CFP named Jeff to come in and take all the clients over. Then I hired an operations person. So I built the merry-go-round where all the people on the merry-go-round would balance my weight on my side. So it wouldn't be tilted. I'm a pretty heavy guy in my personality in the business. So I built the outside people. Then I could step back. And so the year that Emily was sick in the hospital, we literally grew 40% in 12 weeks. No exaggeration. It was ridiculous. They grew the company. I didn't grow it. And so then we sold it on the J curve, which was perfect time to sell it. So then when I had the vision for this company, I was like, because I have a pretty big vision, guys. And the team finally saw it and they got scared. And I usually don't scare Emily. She got scared on this one. And so I was like, I need some talented people. So here's what happens. When it's one-on-one, we can interact really quick. Some of y'all have multiple team members. You know this, okay? Connor, as you building this company, you're going to see this. It's what's going to happen. We can communicate, and we can communicate through eye contacts without even saying words, just like I can with my wife. These are my two wives. I actually have multiple wives, but these are like my two girls, right? So I can communicate with her without even saying anything, just like you can with Emily without saying anything. And then we had April, and April's been with me for 5, 6, 7 years now. So she came as a young bright-eyed girl, said, I know marketing, and she came in and she's like, oh my goodness. And so I've watched her grow up and get her MBA and all this other stuff. And so she's doing her thing. And so now 3 of us are working together. And I'm like, okay, I want to teach April how to run a company because I don't want to run this thing. And so I'm like, here, let's let you hire somebody. She hired somebody. I didn't hire him. And I look at it and said, not the right fit. Truth, not the right fit. I said, I would coach her. It's like, what do you think? Should we fire her? Well, okay. We should have fired her 2 days after we hired her, but I paid her for 90 days for her to make a decision. It cost me $15,000 for her to make the decision, Robert, on to fire this individual. It was an investment into her future that actually led to her making a decision to bring Hillary on. So now I have 3 people on a company that has 0 revenue, but a vision, dumping it out. But I'm sharing the vision and they see it and they can tell you exactly what the vision is. So let me pause there and say, do your team know your vision? Can they say your vision better than you can? If they can't, then you're stuck. You're not moving. So I'm sharing my vision. I'm coaching into their life and I'm pouring into this. So Robert, to your question now, it's 4 people and that's easy. We can communicate. We only have 21 points of contact. Enter in Dalton Bradford. This guy, 5th person, not because of only personality, but a 5th person. It quadrupled the points of contact. 5 people. Quadruple the points of contact. It causes significant disruption in the team. So they had to understand that it's not about their emotions on their thing, it's about a different weight on the system. So we had to restructure the tools of the team before we even had the revenue coming in. We had to totally wash out the avatar, all the systems, all the processes, totally wash it out on the 5th team member. Whenever Emily joined, that added another element. So now we had 6 people. So what you understand in your business is you can go to 4 employees, you can operate pretty autonomously. You go 6 to 5 to 10, different structure. 10 to 25, different structure. 25 to 100, different structure. So not only do you have the bands on the glass ceilings with the revenue, you also have the bands when you have team members, okay? So because I've done this for 30 years, I knew Dalton would come in and my coaching to the team was, truth be told, I would say it's not him, it's the communication system that's set up. Trust me, it's going to balance. We got to rework the system. Oh, Dalton, it's not Raquel. I hear what you're saying. It's the communication system that we got to. So we restructure the entire operating system of the company at team member number 5. And if we were to go to number 10, we'd have to do it again. So you're right in the sense that it's one-on-one, it's super easy. We can communicate almost like non-verbally, but once you get past 4, you're toast. You've got to retool. And some of y'all have more than 4 people and you know what I'm talking about. And as you go past 10, it's going to change again. The whole dynamic's going to change. Okay. And then your clients feel it and your money feels it. So just be aware, you got multiple glass ceilings. We've been talking about revenue, but you also have human capital glass ceiling as well. Mm-hmm. You remember all that fun stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah. He always, when he brings somebody else on too, he says, "You're going to have to help him with me," because he knows that they are not going to get him, and he is that high D, and he can be a lot sometimes. And Dalton was like, one day he was like, "I thought I did so good, and he ripped it all apart," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know how it is." And if you're a team member, just keep pushing. You'll get through that if you just keep pushing.
Anybody else experience that from your owner seat? Forget owner seat. You see what I'm saying? You got to put. What about from the team member seat? You ever feel that way? Like, I'm going to choke him. I'm going to choke him. Yeah. Yeah. It's coming.
I don't really have a tech background outside of television. I really did not enjoy doing social media. The second guy he brought on to do that kind of pigeonholed me there because I'm a mom of 7. And it's kind of I won't say easier thing to do, but it's the easier thing to give maybe the team member that's working from home. And so it wasn't my favorite thing to do, but I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And it was just so tedious because Justin wanted to be everywhere all the time.
Still do.
And he still does. And so he's like bringing this to me and saying, I want to post on Instagram 6 times a day. And I want to post on LinkedIn 10 times a day. And I'm going, do I get to have a life? Like, so I decided to solve for that. And that was kind of the automation that I created. And when we get an asset, when he does a podcast, it all gets split up by like the subcontractors. It goes into our Google Drive, and I build an automation that literally finds it. If it's an image, I taught AI. I found an AI that could read it, turn it into a transcript. Then the LLM, the large language model, Chat or Claude or Gemini, whatever you're using, writes the caption. Then it has a second write. It rewrites it because the first one's usually kind of a rough draft. Think of it the same way, you would anything. Then it would give it 3 different scheduling dates. Then it would get uploaded automatically to our poster. And I basically had our entire social media scheduled out through 2027. And then he wanted to break it.
I broke it last 2 weeks ago.
We broke it. broke it. That's no joke. But I was okay with breaking it because it did need to be restructured. It got us through a ceiling we needed to get through because we were scaling at an unbelievable rate. We were doing things that nobody else on social media was doing, all because I was just that tenacious and relentless about, I don't want to sit here and copy and paste captions anymore. I am so sick of copying and pasting captions that I wanted it to automate. I wanted to be free to do some other things. I don't necessarily have a tech background, but what I've kind of found is that I think I like it a little bit more than I realized. And it's funny because when he first hired me, he's like, hey, I want you to build me a website. And I was like, absolutely not. Does anybody remember how many websites I said I built yesterday? 17 in the last month. So I was like, this was your plan all along to get me to build a website, wasn't it?
So I want to leave you with this, okay? I realize how painful it is to go through vision, mission, and values. And I realize if I say that again, you're probably going to roll your eyes to the back of your head. I realize that. I know that. She's made 3 value statements sitting here today that I have that our whole team will say. First of all, it's this: find a way, make a way. We say dive to the bottom. It's a value I have. She said it now multiple times. She said another value that is there has to be a way. I have a shirt. I say that so much. I have a shirt they gave me that says there has to be a way. That's the value I have. Turn the Turtle, she didn't exactly say that way, but she saw the problem, she'd figured it out. The reason why the values matter so much, it's not just for you to sit on the couch and think about all the sappy stuff. It's so that the ethos knows it. More importantly, we attract who we are. So I have never been in the position, Jim, to your root question, I've never been in the position to say, Raquel she's a dear friend, but she's a tech wizard. Never been that way. In fact, every person inside this room is not serving in the capacity of their skill set. But what they saw was they saw our values, our mutual values, and they took those values, and we see the company, and now they have found their ways into the seats on the bus that they both desire to sit in. And my job is to make sure that whatever seat they're in, they're comfortable, they're able to have the position they have, and I'm looking for the missing seats and saying, okay, I need a subcontractor here to fit in this one technical thing. Oh, we need an AI over here to fill in this one technical thing. My job is to make sure that whatever seats they're in, they have full ownership of it. So we have a mama, we have a young lady who is running a State Farm insurance agency. We have a school teacher, I have a Walmart manager, and I have a bride. That's literally what has put what you have in front of you right now, and a lot more that you haven't seen yet. That's going to blow your mind. So let me just challenge you as we wrap this thing up that wherever you're at in your business right now, there's two sides. The stress that you're feeling or you're going to feel as you grow, it's both ways. It's a lateral movement. Be empathetic, but hold clear to your vision. Realize that the owner is going to have to relinquish control. And if they give you an inch, yank a yard. I'm not joking. Yank it and don't let them have it back. If daddy gives you some, don't let him have it back. In fact, walk in his office and take it from him. Let him fuss. He'll like it all the much more once he gets comfortable in that new position. Okay? You don't have to hire experts. You don't. But it is your vision and your systems and your energy and your vision and your values going to drive your company to a level that you never dreamt was possible if you just lean into it. Guys, I'm just an old country boy born and raised on a dirt road. I'm not exaggerating. I am not that smart. These people are. And I just found out that if I could just let them run, it's pretty amazing what happens. So I wanted to encourage you. I want to take your brain off what we've been working on because we're getting ready to get back into it. But I wanted to let you think about where you're at retrospectively and introspectively as you're thinking about this journey that you're on, these desires that you have. You can accomplish it. You can do it. It's not going to be without pain, but you can do it. How bad do you want it? So I hope that helps you. Thanks, girlie. Appreciate it. Love you.